Have you ever looked at a cheating story and thought, how could someone do that and still feel okay about it? Sometimes it's not just temptation or bad timing. Sometimes there's a deeper personality pattern quietly driving the behavior. Stay with me because this might change how you see infidelity altogether. Cheating is one of those topics that hits close to home for a lot of people. Almost everyone has been affected by it, either personally or through someone they care about. And when it happens, the biggest question is usually why. Today, we're talking about the role narcissism can play in infidelity and why some people seem almost wired to cross boundaries. Narcissism doesn't always look like loud bragging or obvious arrogance. In real life, it can be subtle, charming, and even attractive at first. These are often the people who light up a room, tell great stories, and make you feel special right away. That's part of why the damage later feels so confusing. At its core, narcissism is about a deep need for validation. Narcissistic people often rely on attention, admiration, and praise to feel okay about themselves. When that attention slows down, even in a healthy long-term relationship, they can start to feel restless or unseen. That discomfort is where problems begin. In the early stages of a relationship, a narcissistic partner may seem incredibly loving. They text constantly, give big compliments, and make bold promises about the future. It can feel like a movie romance, intense and exciting. But that intensity is often about how the relationship makes them feel, not about building real emotional closeness. Over time, everyday life sets in. Bills, routines, stress, and quiet nights replace the constant excitement. For someone with narcissistic traits, this normal shift can feel like rejection, even when nothing is wrong. Instead of talking about those feelings, they may start looking elsewhere for a quick emotional boost. This is where infidelity can enter the picture. Cheating offers instant validation without responsibility. A new person doesn't know their flaws yet, so admiration comes easily. That rush can feel like a relief to someone who depends on external approval to feel valuable. Another key piece is empathy, or the lack of it. Narcissistic people often struggle to fully grasp how deeply their actions hurt others. They might understand it logically, but not emotionally. This makes it easier to justify behavior that would stop someone else in their tracks. You might hear phrases like, "it didn't mean anything," or "I never planned for it to happen." These statements aren't always lies in their mind. They often see their actions as separate from their partner's feelings. The focus stays on their own experience, not the damage caused. There's also a strong sense of entitlement that can show up. A narcissistic partner may believe they deserve more attention, more excitement, or more options than other people. If they feel bored or unappreciated, they may see cheating as a solution instead of a betrayal. In their mind, their needs come first. What makes this especially painful is that narcissistic cheaters can still claim they love their partner, and sometimes they truly believe that. But their version of love is often tied to how the relationship serves them. When love stops feeding their ego, they look for another source. Lying tends to come easier in these situations, not because they're always master manipulators, but because protecting their image matters more than telling the truth. Admitting fault threatens how they see themselves, so minimizing, denying, or shifting blame becomes a defense. You might notice how quickly the story turns around on you. Suddenly, your emotions are the problem. You're too sensitive or making a big deal out of nothing. This emotional deflection helps them avoid facing guilt or responsibility. Here's something surprising that many people don't realize. Narcissistic cheaters don't always feel powerful inside. Underneath the confidence is a fragile sense of self that needs constant reinforcement. Infidelity becomes a way to patch that insecurity, even if it destroys trust along the way. This leads to the big insight most people miss. Cheating driven by narcissism isn't really about sex or attraction, it's about identity. It's about trying to feel important, admired, and in control when those feelings are shaky inside. That's why apologies can feel empty or short-lived. They may say sorry to calm the situation, not to truly repair the harm. Without real self-reflection, the pattern often repeats. Change requires accountability, and that's uncomfortable for someone who avoids feeling flawed. It's also why partners often feel emotionally drained after the relationship. You spend so much time questioning yourself, replaying conversations, and trying to fix things alone. That confusion isn't accidental, it's a byproduct of being close to someone who centers everything around themselves. If you've experienced this, it's important to know it wasn't because you weren't enough. Narcissistic infidelity is not caused by a partner's shortcomings. It comes from unresolved inner issues that no amount of loyalty or love can fix on their own. Understanding this doesn't excuse cheating, but it does bring clarity. When you see the pattern clearly, it becomes easier to stop personalizing the betrayal. You can separate their behavior from your worth. So, what's the takeaway here? Narcissism can fuel infidelity by prioritizing ego over empathy, validation over commitment, and desire over responsibility. Love alone isn't enough when emotional maturity is missing. Healthy relationships need self-awareness, accountability, and respect. If this video helped something click for you, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever noticed these patterns in someone you dated, or even in yourself? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need it.